So most of my childhood was pretty tough. I started out just a kid who had a sister who was developmentally disabled, parents who were on the brink of getting divorced all the time. It was a pretty brutal experience. And they got finally divorced. And as I grew up, getting picked on in high school, never really fitting in, never really feeling like I was part of anything special, I, as a lot of people do in this sort of secular world, felt like the only way I was going to be special is if I made myself special. So I did that. From the time I left high school, throughout my entire career, everything I did was literally on my back. It was always, I must achieve more because that's what I have to do. I have to take care of myself. I have to build myself up. And I had lots of successes. I created an entertainment show in Chicago that lasted for almost 20 years, even after I left. I started many businesses that ended up being really successful. I also failed a lot, but every time I failed, it was on my back. I had to pick it up. I had to carry it. I had to lift it back up. I had to recover, all by myself. Every time I succeeded, that was also on my back. So the glory went to me. I did it. Look what I could become. I ended up having an incredible career teaching other people how to be better and stronger, all by themselves, thinking that was the right narrative. At the top of that career, making enormous amounts of money and having a lot of success, I decided, no, that wasn't enough. I had to have more. I had to do more. I had to take on more. And I got roped into an opportunity that seemed like too good to be true to join an industry that was super controversial. But I had to do it because attached to it was also the promise of fame and being on television and being able to be interviewed by people like CNN and Fox News, and it was so exciting. And when I made it happen, I felt like, yes, like I made it all by myself. See, I did it again. By the way, I was also in the midst of a terrible divorce, but I didn't care because I was gonna survive that too, all by myself, all on my own. And at the height of that career change, when I felt like, I don't know how this gets any better from a front-facing position. In other words, if you looked at me, you would think, this guy's made it. He has kids, yeah, he's divorced, but he's making a ton of money. He looks really successful. He's on television. After all, isn't that the pinnacle of society, to be recognized by everyone else? That's what it felt like. That's what it should have felt like. Instead, what it felt like was, I'm alone. The first Christmas without my kids after my divorce, I was at the pinnacle of my success, so to speak, but I was alone. And all I wanted to do was end my life. I wanted it to be over. I didn't want that feeling. I didn't want the feeling that I had to carry it all by myself all the time. I didn't want the feeling that I was, even though I was really successful and seemed like I had it all, I had nothing inside. I was broken and I fell apart. Luckily, I didn't, because about a year and a half later, I met my now wife, who's the love of my life and absolutely a gift from God. So, found my wife, or she found me, really, is what happened. I go through my journey of just continuing to try to lift myself up, continuing to try to fix myself, never turning to God except to complain and to be angry and to be frustrated. God, why aren't you giving me more? Why haven't you granted me what I deserve? I'm working really hard. That was the only way I talked to God, was out of spite and frustration. So finally, after a few years, I said, I can't do this anymore. The career was not working. I hated it. Didn't matter how much money I made, it was never filling me. So I quit, just walked away. And I just decided I'm gonna humble myself because I can't stand it anymore. I can't stand who I am, the guy who's not happy unless he's on television, who's not happy unless he's making enough money. I just couldn't do it. So in 2019, I quit. I walked away from that whole life, that whole everything. It looked insane to everyone around me. My wife supported it, luckily. And my first turn to Christ came that year. In December of that year, I had humbled myself in total. I was broken. I was unsure about what was gonna happen next. And nothing could fill me, so it didn't matter. So I'm at a business trip, I'm sitting in a hotel room, I'm by myself, and I just started sobbing, and I just said to Christ out loud, I said, either kill me tonight or send me back in time and let me fix it all that sin, all that regret, or turn me into something different tomorrow, because I'm done. I'm not capable of anything anymore. I woke up the next day feeling grounded. I'd love to say it was like this huge turning point. It was a beginning. I felt grounded. I felt better. I felt like it wasn't about me. And I started praying more, and I started talking to God more, and in ways that I had never done. I started saying things like, it's not your fault, it's my fault. I feel this way because of me, because I've removed myself from you. And then I just started reading and watching videos and obsessing about wanting to understand God's word and Christ and his path for me. And I kept trying to really embrace it. But it still wasn't enough. I still wasn't there yet. I tried to look at it like a problem I had to solve. I need more God. I need more Christ. I need more prosperity. I need more. So I was already starting to try to take control of it again. And then 2020 comes about, but I still wasn't there. I hadn't fully given it over. And I was in my bedroom. I was getting ready to take a shower. I had headphones in. I'm listening to a song. The words of the song are about feeling broken, but God says you're enough. It's about feeling feeling weak, but God says you're strong. And feeling like you don't deserve anything, really, because you're such a sinful mess, but God believes you do. You deserve something eternally. And that was it. That was my final turn. I fell to my knees. I was sobbing. And I just said, Christ, I love you. I'm sorry. And it was like everything changed in a moment. Not externally. Nothing externally had changed. Internally, everything changed. I felt unburdened for the first time in my entire life. And I felt like I had somebody finally on my team. It was remarkable. I can't even clearly explain how it felt. It then led throughout the year to prosperity of relationship. That's the most important part. Finding the bridge, finding people in the bridge. I decided to go back to school. I'm going back to CCU. I'm now seeking a degree there. I'm seeking to learn more about God's word and will and his grace and understanding and his love for us all. But I'm doing it all with God and Christ right at the center of everything in my heart. And that's the difference.